You're watching the Chris 6 News Back to School Town Hall, brought to you with limited commercial interruption by the law offices of Herman & Herman.
Welcome back, everyone. You know, we all remember what it's like to walk the hallways in school, right? I know it's been a while for me, for our area superintendents who have been educators, and you're there all the time. You know what it's like to be in the hallways. You're talking and you're touching each other. What is it going to look like when it's time to social distance students? How do you do that?
It's different, Kati, if I could jump in since we've done it. But let me tell you what really worked for us at the elementary level, and it's something that we've all played with many years ago, hula hoops. Everyone,
I heard you had hula hoops, yes.
Hula hoop. It can be as simple as a hula hoop, and they love it. Every one of our pre-K-5 elementary kids is given a hula hoop. And when they're in a common area, they have their hula hoop. And it got to, I thought they were going to fight with the hula hoops, but it got to the point where they didn't even want to touch their hula hoops with another hula hoop. So that's just a simple, fun strategy that we've incorporated in Fremont, as well as all of the other things that we've done, the temperature checks, the face masks, the shields, we have the desks with the shields on it. But there's nothing more effective than a good old-fashioned hula hoop.
How did that work for the middle schoolers and the high schoolers? That's the question. Do they?
I don't think it will, but they've asked if they could have it.
Okay.
Well, and I appreciate what Steve says, because, as the adults, we've got to inspire our kids, and, yeah, this is a scary virus and we have to take it seriously, but these are kids and they're very resilient, and it is up to us to inspire that hope and that excitement in them. You said about going down the hall and patting on the back. So it's gonna be more elbow bumps, and getting to say hello to each other, again, with all of the other safety precautions, but it just looks different. But it doesn't mean that it has to be scary and that you're all alone. There's still that verbal interaction and eye contact, and so much that can be communicated that way.
You're right. Instead of a fist bump, you do like the elbow bump, and it's just teaching the kids, right? Yeah, this. I mean, and it's something that they could get used to, the new normal, right? Gracie, I want to ask really what we're talking about. How will enforcement occur between classes during PE, before and after school? Leah Mackey is asking, are the kids going to have to wear masks? Is that going to be mandatory?
Well, at West Social, that's the position we're taking. Once we come back, that face mask, all of the other recommendations that we continue, that what adults are doing with the social distancing and washing hands and smaller classes, etc. But that also will continue with how we view athletics and the things that we do in that environment, what we do with band and what we do with choir and so on. And to use other spaces at times within your schedule, such as gyms, when they're not in use, or cafeteria that's a big space, or libraries, which is a big space, that you can do more of downsizing those particular programs. Like, for example, we started football practice and volleyball, etc. If you look at our football plan that we submitted to our board, and you'll notice that we have face shields and questionnaires and temperature checks, and and nobody's behind a locker, or they have to have their own water bottle, and I can go on and on and on.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of me on that one, Conrado, because I'm going to ask you about extracurricular activities, knowing that West Oso, along with other school districts, started UIL practice on Monday. So I want to talk about that specifically coming up in just a little bit. But in the meantime, a show of hands, are face masks required in every school district?
If they're
I just wanted to share something to go back on that. Yes, we're requiring face masks, but on the social distancing, you know, a big goal of ours is just to limit the amount of people in any one particular place. So we'll have staggered times. We won't be letting the kids transition all at the same time between classes, into cafeterias, things like that. We'll have all the appropriate signage where it needs to be, where some hallways might have been both directions at one time, could become one-way hallways. So it'll be very limited access to where everybody's together at the same time. And then we would be practicing that social distance. It's going to take a whole team effort to make sure it happens.
It is. It's going to take everybody to make sure that it's enforced, and really, like Dr. Cavazos saying, just teaching the kids something new, right? And not making it scary. But hey, guys, this is the new normal for now. Dalia Carranza has asked, are kids going to be tested before going back to school? And Mario Salinas adds to that, saying, will they be tested before going back to face-to-face? And if so, how often?
As far as COVID-19 testing for positivity, is that the question, Katia?
Yes, Steve. So will kids be tested for COVID-19 before going to school? Yes.
That's what I want. That's what I want the federal government and to pass through to the state government. Think about this. If we could have daily, unintrusive testing of every one of our kids, teachers, whoever would come into our building, if we could get point of care testing with immediate results, then we could go back to almost the way it was in March. But until that, then it's going to be very difficult.
Well, that capacity does not exist right now.
But I think it could, Conrado. I think we as a nation have the capability to do that.
Absolutely, and I'm with you on that thought process, but I'm just being candid that I wish it did exist, believe me. That would solve a lot of our issues because, you know, we don't have an MD next to our name. And so we rely on the honesty of people, whether adults or we're going to rely on the honesty of the students as to where they've been. Have they been exposed? Have they, as somebody in the family, do they have fever? Have they been throwing up? Have they stopped eating? And I can go on and on and on. We all know that. But that's up to those individuals to tell you the truth.
Sorry, I was just going to add in lieu of that. I think those are good points, and that's a good question too. That's been the biggest problem I think that we've had, not only, you know, in context with children, but overall in terms of testing, that we haven't tested enough people, and we're always struggling to test enough people, and especially children who are mostly asymptomatic or have mild disease. They can still transmit the virus. We don't have enough data, but it is known that they can still transmit the virus. So even if people are not having any symptoms or anything for that matter, they can still transmit the virus to other people. So, you know, when you think about it, contact tracing and surveillance would have been extremely beneficial and have, you know, a lot of help.
Let me ask our panel, when you actually go back face to face, we say we're wearing masks, you know, we're doing the social distancing. Is it checking for fever every student? And I'm asking this because I really don't know the answer to this. What will that first day back look like?
For us in Gregory Portland, we won't be able to take everybody's temperature. It's like Conrado indicated, you know, we are relying on people with that. Yes, I'm being honest. We do have a screening and tracing form of questions that we will be asking students each day. And we will have families, if students are being riding the bus, before they're allowed on the bus, they will be with a parent or guardian and go through the screening questions. But again, it does rely on honesty, and people are in different places with what, you know, they need to, they're trying to balance childcare, but safety and, you know, trying to balance all of that for the families.
Okay. When we come back, we are going to talk about extracurricular activities. A lot of schools this week, including Toloso Midway and West Oso, started sports practice. So we are going to talk about that right after this quick break.
The Back to School Town Hall is a presentation of Chris 6 News and has been brought to you by the law offices of Herman & Herman.